Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 21 of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful and cloudy confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be listening or watching today, I thank you as always. As always, I recommend for you to like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. And on this episode 21, we're going to hop into our NFL news and notes. Just some news and notes that I've gathered over the past 3 days, topics I felt like I definitely want to discuss with you guys. I want to touch on some things that were on my mind that I don't think has been coming up in the general public or has just really been a thought on the average football fan's mind like that. And I just wanted to touch on it and review it with you guys today. So again, hopping right into it, we kind of got a little bit of a leaks of the schedule release. We know a couple of months back, about a month or two back, we knew the Eagles and the Packers would be playing that first Friday going into the beginning of the season. We knew that some of the other games was coming up. I know yesterday the 49ers and Jets, that was announced as the Sunday night game, I believe. Yeah, Sunday night game. So, games are starting to get leaked out. The schedule's supposed to be released today, so big news. I'll definitely have an episode on that too, touching on the schedule release and what do I think the games may shape out, or how team schedules may shape out. But nonetheless, Chiefs versus Ravens will be game one to kick off the NFL season. I'm not really big on conference championship game rematches or Super Bowl rematches to start off game one of the next year because, obviously it has no damn bearing on what happened the previous year. Because if it did, you would have won the championship. The title would change hands that game. So it doesn't. So for the Chiefs, unveiling another banner, trying to establish their dominance and set the tone. For the Ravens, hoping to, piss on the parade. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I think this game has a very, very high magnitude to it for the Ravens, a lot higher than what the average person is possibly thinking. And I'll explain myself in a second. I think that a Ravens loss could psychologically devastate this team. Not that they would miss the playoffs, not that they would just go on a tailspin and not get it together. I'm not predicting that. I don't think that necessarily would happen. What I think could happen, though, is if they lose this game against Kansas City on opening night, after you've lost in the AFC Championship game in your place, they're going to be in here. I mean, I saw Lamar's record against Pat. He's 1-4. Not great. Not great. I mean, it's just like, there's no way to fucking cut it. It's not great. So, we're going to have to start, changing narrative soon if they don't win this game and they don't show up in the playoffs. Because, hell, contrary to what most people don't really understand, Lamar Jackson is now in that rare era with Peyton Manning where, at this point in your career, you have multiple MVPs without a Super Bowl. And I can honestly tell you, we all, and I remember vividly because I was young then, we all got to a point where it was like, yeah, Peyton, fuck what you're doing in the regular season. What are you doing in the postseason? That's where it's at for Lamar now. What are you doing in the postseason? Keep this in mind, y'all. He has one more playoff victory than Dak Prescott. 7 years in, 2 MVPs. He's got to get it done. But to counter that, I also say that a win for the Ravens could really boost them psychologically. So it really depends on how they play. I think they're going to come out focused, prepared for this game. I think it's going to be the most prepared they've been in a while. They'll probably look better execution-wise than they did in the AFC Championship game. For their sakes, I hope they do. But, yeah, it's a huge game. I was kind of shocked that they were going to have these guys coming out the gate playing each other. But, hell, I'll be honest. I didn't see the Eagles playing the Packers straight out the gate. I predicted that amongst my crew, but I kind of was like a pipe dream. Didn't really think it would happen. So, it's a lot of important games early to start the year. Leading next into my next topic would be Drake May and the New England Patriots, and reviewing the comments from head coach Jerod Mayo when he discussed that Drake May, and quote, has a lot to work on. A lot of people were kind of running with that and kind of going, well, what did he mean by that? We know he was raw and he's a project. Is he not hitting, the targets? He's not getting the ball to receivers. I'm here to, give my perspective and opinion on this. And again, I'm not saying I'm God, y'all, and I'm end all be all, but just reading between the lines, because I read that quote on several different websites and even watched the video on it. That message to me seems like it was being sent to upstairs, to management. That seemed like that was a message being sent to Jonathan Kraft and Robert Kraft and Elliott Wolf. Like, hey, listen, this kid is not fucking ready to be out there yet. I am not putting him out there, damaging his mental and his psyche. And it goes twofold to a bigger problem that the Patriots have that I was alluding into in my previous episode speaking on this. The need to turn the page from Tom Brady has been so immense that now they're really willing to throw a young guy out there who we know ain't fucking ready. And the fact that the coach had to clarify the comments, and I'm pretty sure Gerard Mayo is smart. He's been around Bill Belichick. He's been a player for Bill Belichick. He's been in the Patriots system for years, most of his career, obviously. He knows already what to say and what not to say. The fact that he carefully chose those words, it seemed to me he was trying to tell upper management, this kid's not ready to play. Let's not force the issue. Again, like I said, it seems like Elliott Wolf and Jonathan Kraft are running the Patriots. Seems like Robert Kraft is taking more of a back seat, understandably getting up there in age. It's going to be interesting because I told you guys what my opinion was on Elliott Wolf, and Jonathan Kraft is just kind of cementing that. So, I don't know. But like I said, my personal opinion, I think that message was being sent to ownership. I think that message was very loud and clear. Like, don't talk to me about having this kid starting out September when, he's still trying to get the playbook down. So, anyway. Next, we're going to get into a guy who's actually doing well in his camp, doing well so far in the rookie mini camps. That's Bo Nix. This seems like a match made in heaven. Sean Payton has been smiling ever since his kid's gotten there. Bo Nix, rightfully so, has been smiling. He's already, signed his new rookie deal already. This just seems like the perfect fit for Sean Payton's system. Sean Payton's got what he's wanted now. He's got the quarterback that he's wanted. I hope this for him works because you have Courtland Sutton not showing up right now, basically saying like, until I get my money, I'm not showing up. And if you don't want to pay me, just trade me. So that's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on because I think Bo Nix is going to need him there to, be successful. But nonetheless, I see that Sean Payton is very, very giddy and very happy. He's got Russ out the door. And I get it. From all reports, it seems like Russell Wilson was not running the plays in the system that Sean Payton had or wanted. It sounds like an excuse to me because if that's the case, you just bench a guy. But nonetheless, we'll see. We'll see. Shout out to Bo Nix, though, and congratulations, man. And sky's the limit for him and the Broncos. This report is coming per Pro Football Talk. Shout out to the guys over there, Mike Florio and them at PFT. But this story comes from Jayden Daniels, not Jake Daniels. Damn, I don't know who the hell Jake Daniels is. But anyway, Jayden Daniels, quarterback for the Washington Commanders. He and wide receiver Luke McCaffrey, son of wide receiver Ed McCaffrey, brother of Christian McCaffrey, running back for the 49ers. Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver out of Rice, obviously was a mid-round pick for the Commanders. He's been practicing a lot with Jayden Daniels, and he spoke very highly of Jayden Daniels. He said they're building a rapport, a nice chemistry, and a flow, which we all expected. I mean, the people who are going to be the most happy that Jayden Daniels is there is Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, this kid, McCaffrey, the running backs. I mean, this guy is going to change life for them. It may not show right away, but I strongly believe, again, I've told you guys leading up to the draft and even after my draft coverage, I think Jayden Daniels is going to change life for Washington. I'm pissed that he's there. I'm being completely honest with you. As an Eagles fan, I'm completely pissed. But nonetheless, I give this guy credit. Cliff Kingsbury's giving him some tools to work with. It looks like they have a chance to be possibly second or third best team in the NFC East this year. So be that as it may, we'll see. We'll see. But it's going to take a lot of it will hinge on the shoulders of Jayden Daniels. Another article coming per Pro Football Talk was Kyle Pitts' development. Some comments that Raheem Morris made about, we know what type of player that he is and what he's capable of, and we have to make sure he's getting the ball. You guys have heard me joke about it before that Arthur Smith turned Kyle Pitts into the most athletic left tackle or athletic at times right tackle in NFL history, for a guy to convert from tight end to the line. That's a joke. That's sarcasm. He's not a fucking tackle or right tackle. He's a tight end. Nonetheless, Arthur Smith didn't have him in the proper positions to play. I think a lot of times Arthur Smith had him out of position. So being in this Zach Robinson offense, Raheem Morris, these guys coming from Sean McVay's system, is going to be very crucial because Kyle Pitts' development is going to be key. I do believe his fifth-year option hasn't been picked up because clearly he wanted to see what this guy can do. And if he plays well like we expect him to with Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix, however that shakes up, we expect Kyle Pitts to play well. But if he doesn't, yeah, he'll be let go. And it'll be clearly one of the biggest draft busts and at that high for a tight end ever. And a lot will be riding on Kyle Pitts this year and his Falcons team. A lot will be riding on him. So we'll see. This next article is coming per The Athletic. This is, it touched on a broad range of players, but I wanted to highlight some specific players, some guys I haven't really touched on too much on this show. The article spoke about players under the microscope going into the 2024 season, which there are a shitload of players under the microscope going into the 2024 season. Basically, the guys that I took of note, Odell Beckham being the first one on the list, Keon Coleman being second, Drake May being third, and Anthony Richardson rounding out the list at fourth. Starting off with Odell Beckham, I don't know if y'all really noticing it or not, but Odell Beckham had like 560 some odd receiving yards last year for the Baltimore Ravens. This year is a make or break year for Odell. Odell held out for a couple years now, waiting for that payday to come as like a second receiver, and he still thought he was going to command a lot of money. It didn't happen. And I give him a shitload of credit. He played team soldier in Baltimore. It seemed like it was a tough physical Odell. It didn't seem like the regular Odell that we're used to seeing. Now that he's in Miami, he's more in his element. He's in an offense where he's going to be a third receiver. He's definitely going to get the ball because Waddle and Hill will command attention. This is a make or break year for Odell Beckham. If Odell Beckham plays well, he might get that other contract that he thought he might not possibly have had coming down the pipe. If he plays like he did last year for Baltimore, he'll be on one-year prove-it deals until his legs are completely shot. So it'll be a crucial year for Odell Beckham. Keon Coleman, my man, big body wide receiver out of Florida State. This is very simple. He's replacing Stephon Diggs. Now, I'm not stupid and naive enough to think that he's going to replace Stephon Diggs' production. I mean, you're talking about one of the best receivers in the NFL within the past 10 years. That's just not going to happen, like that. So I will say this much, though. If he gives you an 1,200 yard season, that's a success. If he gives you somewhere between 50 and 70 catches, that's a success. A lot will hinge on how Josh Allen plays and gets on the ball. I think, that tandem could work. Needless to say, though, a lot of pressure is going to be on Keon Coleman. Now, there's Dalton Schultz there. They have the kid Shakir there. They have other wide receivers there. They have the running backs that they like to pass the ball to out of the backfield. So it won't all be on him, but we all know how this shit works. Keon Coleman's going to have to shit and play well. And if he doesn't, pressure will be on, rookie or not. Hell, you see Treylon Burks right now with the Titans. There's rumors now they might trade him. I mean, think about that. This kid was literally drafted in place of A.J. Brown. And because he hasn't been where A.J. Brown's been, which is just completely fucking unfair, because he hasn't been where A.J. Brown's been, he might not get another job. Needless to say, next player is Drake May. I just touched on this, obviously, earlier in this segment. His coach stating he has a lot to work on. I think some of that is true and some of that's, front office, jargon. But Drake May, there's a good chance this guy being drafted third, he's going to probably play this year. We all know Jacoby Brissett doesn't stay healthy throughout a full season. And I just think that it's just going to be too tantalizing for Jonathan Kraft and Elliott Wolf for these guys to be able to rein it in and not want him to play. Because, again, he was third pick in the draft. Those guys usually play right away. So a lot of pressure will be on Drake May this year to perform and show up and show cause that he could legitimize them taking him at the third selection in the NFL draft. And this one was a little bit of a shock to me because, last year was his rookie year, but I think it was because of the injury. Anthony Richardson. Oh my, what a year makes. Last year he was the media darling. Every analyst talked about him. I remember Chris Sims on Pro Football Talk. I remember guys on CBS Sports, ESPN. Bloviating, fucking glowing, talking about Anthony Richardson. Now it's, can he stay healthy? We don't know if he can stay healthy. We don't know if he's that guy. I'm just going to say this much to you. A shoulder injury is definitely something to worry about for a rookie quarterback coming in, his first year, and he's already got a shoulder injury. Looking at him so far in the OTAs and the rookie camps, he looks bigger. Listening to Jimmy Bob Cooter speak and saying how he doesn't sound like a rookie this year. He sounds like a guy that's been in this system. Well, hell yeah, he's played some snaps. He's definitely been in this around. When he was getting surgery done, we all know he was definitely at the facility. I'm pretty sure he was soaking things in while he was away. He looks bigger. He looks a little bit more bulked up. I expect this kid to take the next step. He's the only one on this list that I have the least bit of qualms about. Again, I understand shoulder injury aside, you have to worry about those things, but out of all the guys on this list, he's the one I have the least bit of trepidation about. I think he is going to have a great season next year. I really do. And, you know, if Gardner Minshew can get him to 9 wins, I think Anthony Richardson could possibly get him to 11. So a couple contract news and notes I wanted to touch on very briefly. Something that I know definitely was going to be near and dear to you guys out there in Cowboys world and Miami Dolphins land and places like that. Jared Goff's contract. It came late yesterday afternoon. Jared Goff got fucking paid. Shout out to the boy. 4 years, $212 million. $170 million of that is guaranteed. So it rounds out about $53 million annually that he'll be making a year. I'm just going to say this, and I'm not going to bloviate too much. I'm just going to say this. Jared Goff has been one of the most disrespected quarterbacks in the NFL. And I understand. He's not, you know, he folds like paper mache when the pocket collapses around him. There was throws that he definitely missed early on in his career. I definitely feel like, you know, he played inconsistent. That being said, he's played better than Baker Mayfield. He's played better than Carson Wentz. He's played better than Dak Prescott. He's played better than a lot of the guys that's been drafted around him in the same class or after. And I just find it hilarious that there was a lot of analysts talking shit. 2 years ago, it was a question if this guy was even going to be there. Now he got the Lions to their first NFC Championship game in years. And it's a question of, well, should they have paid him that money? Who the fuck was coming in to replace him? This is the Detroit Lions we're talking about. There's not a stable of great quarterbacks. I mean, hell, they swapped Jared Goff for Matt Stafford. And everybody, and myself included, said, well, hell, the Rams won that trade. Hell, the Rams won the Super Bowl. Now look. I mean, that's the first time in a long while you had a win-win in the NFL where both teams won the trade. Hell, the Lions got draft capital and Goff. The Rams got Stafford and the Super Bowl out of it. I just take exception because guys like Jared Goff, I understand they're not perfect, but to completely shit on this man and say he's not good is just disrespectful. You've gotten to a Super Bowl with the Rams. You got the Lions of all franchises to the NFC title game. And hell, one thing I will say that will smite them, you should have fucking played better in the NFC Championship game. If you make some of those throws, you're in the Super Bowl again. So, you know, just do your job, and who knows, sky's the limit for you. But sky's the limit for the Lions. And shout out to the Lions for getting that deal done and making sure, you know, they didn't have him in limbo waiting to get paid. Because I think that might have been something that could have hindered them this year or, you know, could have came back to bite them in the ass. But the subplot to this is, what does this mean for Dak and Tua? Because we got to remember, we know Jerry, Mr. All In, he already said that he wants to keep Dak. Miami, you know, Chris Greer has already said, you know, we've touched on this, you know, Tua's his guy. So those franchises are possibly about to be financially hamstrung. Logic tells me one of them is going to be financially hamstrung, and that'll possibly be Miami. And one of them is going to be free to make a decision at quarterback and be able to start over. But Jared Goff moving the needle just made the price tag a lot higher for both guys at both franchises. Dallas, don't know what the fuck you're waiting on, but might want to get on it. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to Antoine Winfield Jr., corner for the Buccaneers, who's definitely just showed out and proving that the lineage, you know, if daddy was good in the NFL, it's contrary to the NBA. It doesn't usually constitute like that in the NBA, but in the NFL, if daddy's usually good, the son winds up being good or playing well or decently enough. And this kid has just been shitting, man. He's been one of the Bucs' best defensive players. He got a 4-year contract yesterday, $84 million in total, $45 million of it guaranteed. I mean, without him, their defense would have had a hole that they couldn't replace. This was all expected. This was all needed and required. Shout out to the Bucs for getting it done. And, you know, they've been paying their guys. Paying Mike Evans, paid Chris Godwin a year or two ago, paying Antoine Winfield. Things didn't fall out right with Devin White, and I understand, and they didn't pay him. Now he's in Philly. We'll see how that works out. But I give the Bucs credit. They're definitely making sure they pay their guys. And they're definitely making sure they're fortified to try to make a run in the NFC South this year. Having said all that, that is it for my NFL news and notes for episode 21 of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. I thank you guys so much, as always, for watching, listening. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, as always, guys. I love y'all. Take care and enjoy your day.